Greetings, YouTube. Yeah, I've warped your way back into the WGS Arcade, and we're back with more Boob Tenshi, and Mizuki and Bunny have kidnapped Kenji, and he's being held hostage in some sort of top-secret facility. So, apparently they got something planned, but they're not letting us know what it is. I think In Time was pretty much a big clue as to what they were doing.
Those Chronotech crooks really did it this time. I'm so sorry, Tensei. We tried, we really tried. We went over there as soon as we could and they outsmarted us. It's okay, I don't blame you two. I blame myself for allowing him to go in the first place. I knew it was dangerous and yet I still allowed it.
I'm doing everything I can to pinpoint Kenji's location, running multiple bioscans across several time streams. It won't be easy, but I hope I can find him.
I'll help in any way I can, Michelle. You girls may go. Thank you sincerely for all your help. But I need to be alone right now.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Poor Tensei. He seems so distraught.
Can you blame him? His only grandson was just kidnapped right under his nose because of his own invention.
First his only daughter, and now his only grandson.
Wait, huh?
Gosh, I almost forgot. Kenji may have lost his parents, but Tensei, he lost someone just as important to him.
Outliving your own child.
Yo, we have to fix this.
How? We don't even know where they are.
We can try to lure them out and follow them back to their own lab. We didn't try that before because of the risk, but now I don't see how we don't have a choice anymore.
That sounds really dangerous, Rose. I'm not sure if...
If you aren't going to help, I'll go on my own. I'm sorry, it's just... Who knows what they could be doing to him right now?
I understand, Rose, but we can't just rush into battle. We need a better plan. Once we have one, then we can go for it.
You're right. Okay, Kyo, let's try to think something up.
I don't know how much time had passed. It was dark and it was quiet. I was just tied there, waiting for something or someone. I didn't know what though. I struggled with my bonds, feeling the rope rubbing against my wrist, tied to the steel pipe behind me. How am I going to get out of this one? I was muttering to myself at this point, but I didn't care. I didn't think there was anyone around to actually hear me anyway. At least I didn't think so until I heard footsteps. The clacking of high heels came from somewhere off in the darkness, till the figure was more visible in front of me. It was Bunny. How are we this evening, Kenji? Like you actually care, keeping me captive in your sex dungeon? She winked and strutted towards me over to my side, bending over to eye level. Kidding, of course. What do you plan on doing with me? We've been through this, Kenji. I'm not allowed to say, as that would spoil the surprise. Fine, at least tell me what Project Paradox is. None of that either. You see, in order for this plan to go as perfectly as possible, you need to be as in the dark about it as we can keep you. Does that include the actual building lights as well? Oh, so you still have a sense of humor in this situation, huh? It's more of a bitter sarcasm at this point. Call it what you will, Kenji. You're not leaving from this spot. But I thought I might keep you company and tell you some stories you don't already know about your little friends over on the other side. Other side? Ah, yes, the answer to the first question. So as it turns out, the reason your friends can't find us because we aren't located in a different area to them, but rather in a different period of time itself. What? Really? Time is funny like that. We exist many years ahead of them, just out of reach, so their time window can't track us. And since their time window can only go back in time, they really have no chance of finding us, huh? Then how did you find out about the time window in the first place? Oh, that's a long, complicated one. Where should I start? She slid down and sat next to me, wrapping her arm around my shoulders. I squirmed a bit uncomfortably. Well, it started with our commander. The commander came up to us one day and proposed an idea to us. And in the meantime, we agreed and created an exact replica of the time window the girls made, under the guise of Chrontech. But how did you manage to get the blueprints? Inside information, dear. She winked and brushed off my question. Let's just say that not everything about your time is quite as logical as you'd like to think, and not everything is black and white. She stood, walking in front of me, putting her hands on her hips. Now, as for me, I was friends and roommates with Mizuki back in our college days. We were both engineering and biology majors looking to advance medical sciences. That seems like a much bigger cause than what you're doing now. Trust me, dear, when the commander approached us with the idea, we thought the exact same thing. But when she explained it in detail, the possibilities that it could provide and the differences it could make, we couldn't resist. Think about it like this. When we try to find cures to diseases, when you could just go back in time and stop them from existing. What? But that isn't possible for... But of course, that is definitely impossible for some genetic diseases like cancer and Alzheimer's, but we even kept those in mind too. We can go back to the very conception and cropping up of those diseases and find their solutions faster than we ever could in the modern era. And for diseases that we did have a root cause, well, we could stop them from happening altogether. But the dangers of altering time, and that's what the commander is going to test. Until now, we've just gone back to study evidence. Many diseases were brought on by great wars due to the severely unhygienic conditions they created. And whether or not that's historically or medically accurate, they're the findings we have personally observed on our travels. You have to realize that modern science, medicine, and logic become nothing once time travel is introduced. Oh, but look at you. So bored. Did those girls over at Tensei's lab treat you right? I watched wide-eyed as she walked towards me, swaying her hips and bringing her hands to her clothes, slowly undoing them as she approached me. They didn't, did they? My oh my, Kenji, I don't know how you were able to resist getting your hands all over them that whole time. No, look, it's not... Oh, what, you want to sit around and tell me that you're better than that? That you're a gentleman and all that nonsense? Please, Kenji, go on about how you're so much better than modern men because of how much you respect me. Why is that a bad thing? Look, what are you even doing? It's not that you're not attractive, it's just that I'm tied up and kind of being held hostage. Not exactly a romantic setup, Bunny. Not to mention that despite you being attractive, you're one of my captors. I don't like explaining myself or my actions all the time to people, so I'd ask you to please shove off. Bunny was silent, staring at me for a moment before sighing, a shove of her shirt slinking to the side of her shoulder. Yeah, the commander did say you were different. She sat this time in front of me, looking at me directly in the eyes. Look, Kenji, who do you think are the bad guys here? What are you talking about? Did you consider for a second that maybe, possibly, there isn't such a thing as good and evil in this battle that you're taking place in? Just different ideals? No, don't get all existential on me. Shut it with the sarcasm, genius. Think, Kenji, the only reason you side with those girls is because you met them first, and because of their allegiance to your grandfather. But Tensei is a layabout. He designed a time machine, a functioning way to get through time, but what does he do? He sits on his thumbs and looks at things like it's the History Channel. Tensei is no doubt a genius, but he isn't applying his genius to anything anymore. He spent his life developing one of the most amazing things known to mankind, and he has kept it secret and safe somehow. But we're doing something, Kenji. We're taking this product and using it to help people, cure things, stop plagues and wars. But you're risking time falling apart. Oh, shut up with your butterfly effect nonsense. We spent all this time studying and observing, being obedient little pets, while the commander carries out her ultimate plan, the door that we just need to open to solve everything else. Your grandfather, his assistants, however good you think they are, Kenji, they aren't. They're stopping us from accomplishing our goals. We just want to help people, I promise. I looked at her face for a long time. It was serious, solemn, and pale. But for some reason, I can't believe any of you. Despite how good you're making it sound, you just kidnapped someone in order to execute your plans. You could have just asked. Like you would have said yes. Alright, fine, you have a point, but still. Just think about it, Kenji, that's all I ask. She stood looking back down at me. I looked up at her, her face partly obscured by her breast. I tried to keep that thought out of my mind, but it was rather hard when it was glaring me in the face. She must have noticed because her mood seemed to turn on a dime. Like 'em? She asked this while hefting up her two large orbs, smirking. 100% real, Kenji, I promise. Even with the time window effects. Amazing, aren't they? She bent down, almost shoving them in my face, and all I could do was sit there and blush. Nice and soft, too. Trust me, dear. You wisen up and join us in our mission, and you'll be able to have fun with these whenever you want. With that, she stood and sauntered away, whistling a merry tune as she did so. I caught my breath, mulling over her words. I didn't know what to believe at this point. But even as I sat there, I couldn't help but wonder what Rose and Kyo were up to. Had they forgotten about me? Or was there truly no way for them to get here? There haven't been any results on his location, though any pinpoints on either of the women from Krontek. And before we go any further, guys and gals, we're going to go ahead and call it an episode, and hopefully when we come back to the arcade, Rose and Kyo and Michelle and Tenshi will have developed a plan to find us, even though it seems like Bunny said it's impossible for them to find them. So with that being said, I am your friendly neighborhood WrestleGamer, and I will see you at the next Warp Zone. Bye, guys! Kyo is completely fan service. Even she was talking about it in the earlier episodes, about how she likes fan service in anime, and that's exactly